Black men and men in general are suffering from a mental health crisis. And Exhibit A is the black and the white manosphere. What you're seeing is the end result of a mental health crisis that is widespread. I'm not trolling. I'm not talking down. I'm not making jokes. I'm being very serious. A lot of black men are in a mental health crisis because they do not have an identity. Let's walk through this. Let's think about this. A growing number of black men, even black men in this space, grew up without the ideal relationship with their father, if they had a relationship at all. So you don't have the man who created you raising you up and teaching you and showing you who you are and what you need to be, encouraging you, building you up, setting an example. So a lot of guys are at a deficit due to that. You had on top of that, unfortunately, many brothers had issues with the women in their family, whether it was their mother or their grandmother. Cursing at them, talking down to them, mistreating them, emasculating them. Then on top of that, many brothers do not have a religious belief at all. So they don't necessarily believe in a higher power. And they haven't prescribed to themselves what the higher power of whatever religion they would choose to partake in, what that higher power says about them and says who they are and says what they are. Then you go to adolescence, teenage years. And you weren't an athlete, and you weren't a popular kid, you weren't a cool kid. You weren't successful with girls all that much, if at all. You were outcast. You were isolated, maybe even picked on or bullied. You didn't dress nice. A lot of the times when you were rejected, it wasn't just no thank you. It was a rejection in an embarrassing fashion in front of other people. People were always talking down to you and telling you what you weren't and excluding you and isolating you. Then you become an adult in this social media age. And what are you hearing online? Black men don't build. Black men are dusty. Black men are broke. White men treat you better. This kind of man got more money. I'm not submitting. What you are seeing in real time is a mental health crisis. You have a growing number of men who do not know who they are. And by and large, what everyone else is telling them they are is negative. You've heard guys talk about women don't want to be nice. Women won't smile. There's a growing number of black men who genuinely believe that black women hate them. That black women value other groups of men more than them. That black women will, if all things equal, take the white man just because he's white. And what I'm realizing is there's several reasons why so many black men are hyper-focused on black women. And one reason is this. The disrespect or the perceived disrespect from black women as an adult was the last straw. It started off with dad and granddad and the rejection and the abandonment. On top of that, may or may not have been the issues with mom and grandmom and auntie and them. Then it goes to school and the rejection and the bullying, and you're not part of the in crowd, and you're not popular, and you're isolated, and you're over there, and girls are rejecting you. Then you become an adult, and your identity was never shaped or crafted around what's good about you, what's interesting about you, who you are, what you believe in, what you can do, what you can have, what you like, what you offer. Your entire life, you feel as though you have been rejected and beaten down and taken advantage of and talked down to and talked about and ignored and abused. And then you become an adult male in the social media age. And you hear women, black women, on the internet talking about black men ain't this and black men ain't that. And then you go out in the real world and you try to ask a woman out and you try to date a woman and you try and do this and you get shot down and rejected and used. And this is a mental health crisis because many men do not know who they are. They've heard way more negative things about themselves than they've ever heard positive. And so let me read something to you that talks about the importance of identity. Because think about when you weren't poured into by granddad, you weren't poured into by dad, you weren't poured into by mom, grandmom, auntie. Your environment didn't pour into you. Your community didn't pour into you. Your peers didn't pour into you. And now you're an adult male and nobody has still poured into you. So now who are you in a positive sense? You don't know. So let's talk about the importance of identity. Identity creates self-awareness. A strong sense of identity can give you a deep sense of awareness of who you are as a person. It can help you understand your likes, dislikes, actions, motivations, and relationships. It provides direction and motivation. Having a strong sense of identity can give you a clear understanding of your values and interests, which can help provide clarity, direction, and motivation when it comes to setting goals and working toward them. It enables healthy relationships. When you know and accept yourself, you can form meaningful connections with people who appreciate and respect you for who you are. A strong sense of identity also helps you communicate effectively, establish healthy boundaries, and engage in authentic and fulfilling interactions. Black men, a growing number, are suffering from an identity crisis. In one aspect, I'm blessed because I didn't grow up with my father, but the reason was different. My parents were married. lived in the same house. I didn't grow up with my father because he got sick and he died when I was, in second grade. So I didn't get poured into by him, but I didn't have the sense of abandonment because it wasn't like I had a dad and he just left it wasn't that kind of situation. So I still had a void, but I didn't have any trauma. On top of that, I was also raised in a Christian household. So my entire life, I was engulfed in God and what God thought of me and what God says I am. And so the issues that I had was just figuring out how to do this man thing because I didn't have an example because my example passed away. But what I didn't have was the trauma and the rejection and not being poured into. So that and then that's a blessing. But that's what's going on here. Many brothers have an identity issue because no one poured into them. No one told them what was good about them. No one told them what good things they had to offer. No one did that. And so you becoming an adult and you're still getting rejected and used and abused and you're hearing women online saying all these things about men. It's like the straw that broke the camel's back. And that's why so many men are hyper focused on it and they can't let it go. And just to be real, you know what I need to do? I need to apologize to the black manosphere. Not because of what I said was wrong about the red pill and everything. Not because of that. But because of the lack of empathy and the style of delivery. Because knowing what I know now, guys doing what they're doing, it makes perfect sense. Well, not that it makes perfect sense. I completely understand how they got to this point. And so what I need to do is to come at guys in a different way. Because ultimately what I aim to do is to help you place yourself, because I can't do it for you, place yourself on the correct track. That's why if you've been paying attention, I've talked so much about what you need to do to believe in yourself, to love yourself. Ultimately responding to the woman and clapping back at the woman and waiting for the woman to get hers. That's not the answer. That's not going to help you. Ultimately, what has to happen is very simple. It's simple in terms of the steps. Now, putting it into action is complex. But I'm going to break it down again. What you have to do, you have to spend some time with yourself. Why are you spending time with yourself? Because you need time to think and reflect. You need to figure out what is it that I am actually interested in. Not what I think I should be interested in to fit into certain circles and certain spaces. But what do I actually like? What am I actually good at? What skills do I have? It doesn't matter what it is. What am I good at? I need to figure out all of those things. And most importantly, what do I believe in? What is my moral compass? What's right and wrong for me? What's acceptable, what's unacceptable? Not based upon what anybody else thinks or what anybody else does or what standards somebody else has, but what me personally, what do I think is right and wrong? Separate from what anybody else thinks or what anybody else does. What is my code? What is my morals? What are my ethics? Once you spend some time by yourself and you figure out those things, the next thing you need to do is think to yourself, okay, I know what I like. I know what I'm good at. I know what my morals, values, and principles are. Now, what do I want out of life? What type of money do I want to make, realistically? What type of environment do I want to live in? A house, a condo, city, rural, south, east. Do I want to have a family? Do I want to have kids? Do I want to get married? Do I want to travel? Am I into anime? Am I into comic books? Am I into video games? Do I like to grill? Do I like to play basketball on the weekend? Do I like to go hiking? What do I want for my life? Now that you figured out what you want for your life, now it's time to plan. In order to get here at my end goal, for the rest of 2024, I need to do this. In 2025, I need to do that. In 2026, I need to do that. Now break it down even further. We're in the third month of 2024. By the 6th month, I want to be able to say I've done this. By the 9th month, this is how you shape your identity. This is how you learn to love yourself. This is how you move into a healthy mental space. Because now you know what you like. You know what you're good at. You know what you believe in. You know what you want to do. You have a plan for how you're going to accomplish it. You have short-term and long-term goals. Once you start reaching your short-term goals, I said in 3 months I'm going to do this, and I did it. Now you have confidence in yourself because you set a goal and you accomplished it. Now you have love for yourself because now you feel competent. You feel accomplished. Now, what random women say on the internet does not matter to you at all. You couldn't care less. Now, it's not about will women accept you? Will friends accept you? Will companies accept you? It's about, does this woman, does this friendship, does this company, does this alliance, does this community fit in line with what I believe in and where I'm trying to go? Because I can't afford to bring people into my life that are not going to help me. That's how it's done, fellas. That's how it's done. Just to drive it home, I'm going to give you an example. Let's say, you say, oh, that sounds good, but how you really work it out? I'm going to talk to you. I'm going to run through it very quickly because I got stuff I got to do. So, let's say Jason. Jason sits at home. He heard this video. He's inspired. He goes home. He's sitting there thinking, what do I like? Okay, well, I like anime and I like Marvel comics and movies, and I'm really into the technical and the graphics and all this other kind of stuff. And I'm good at following along the storylines and knowing the comic books and creating story arcs and drawing and creating and AI and all these other kind of things. I believe in treat people how you want to be treated, and I don't believe in backstabbing and talking behind people's back and using people. Okay, so he got that part down. Now, what does he want to do? I like the anime. I like the Marvel stuff. I like this, that, and the third. I'm good at drawing. I'm good at AI, et cetera, et cetera. What I'm going to do is I am going to create myself a YouTube channel where I use AI to do reviews of comic books and Marvel movies and DC comics and all those kind of things. I'm going to start my own channel up, and I'm going to upload the content on there. And from there, I might even make my own comic strip or whatever. You get what I'm saying. Because at the end of the day, I want to make a living in the AI space, the anime. I'm spitballing here, all right? Whatever. That's his goal. Also, he wants to get in shape and dress well, and he doesn't want to get legally married, but he wants a live-in girlfriend. He wants to have one child with this woman. Okay. Now that you have your end goal, now you set personal goals. Okay. First thing obviously I need to do, I say I want to look nice. I got to get me a Planet Fitness membership. That's a short-term goal. I gotta actually start the YouTube channel. That's a short-term goal. I gotta find a barber. That's a short-term goal. I gotta start, if I'm going to meet a quality woman and all those kinds of things, I actually have to start to be more social. I got to start going outside. Well, that's a short-term goal, which will also be accomplished by I'm going to the gym. I'm going to the barbershop. I'm going, so I'm moving around. I'm making things happen. I'm going walks. I'm going on hikes. I'm meeting people. I'm breaking my comfort zone, and I'm just saying hello to people and meeting them. I'm not like necessarily shooting my shot. I'm just meeting people and getting to know people. So guess what? Now, 6 months in, Jason does not need to continue to consume and worry about what black women are saying online. Why? Because he has some confidence and self-belief and love within himself. Why? Because he's setting goals for himself. He knows who he is. He knows what he likes, and he's knocking down goals. I got on the scale. I was 295. I got me a membership. 3 months later, I'm 285. Only 10 pounds, but hey, it's progress. I got me a barber. I get my hair cut every 2 weeks now. Progress. I started my YouTube channel or my Rumble or my podcast or whatever it is I'm doing. On my IG page, and in 60 days, I done got 200 or so subscribers or followers. Progress. I built an identity for myself. And so at this point, what random women say online, I could not care less. That is how you get out of this mental health, lack of identity crisis. Otherwise, you're going to continue to stay on the internet and you're going to stay in the same place. And I don't want that for you, and I don't think you want that for yourself.